And you heard us mention about 250 families were forced from their homes. Some have been able to return, others have not. Many neighbors gathered at Terry's Corner. That's a gas station just outside the emergency management barricades to share information with one another. Debbie Messer said she and her husband had to evacuate with their adult daughter, who is on the autism spectrum, and their granddaughter, plus 11 dogs. They were able to find a place to stay in LaGrange for the night, but all afternoon and evening, they were worried whether or not they would have a home to return to. Now, Debbie joins us live on the phone by midday this morning. Debbie, good morning to you.
Hi, Jenny. How are you?
Well, actually, how are you and your family doing this morning?
We're hanging in there. I'm very tired. I maybe slept 2 hours last night. We're very fortunate that we have an amazing vet who took several of our foster dogs and personal dogs into their kennel at 10:30 last night once we knew we couldn't return home. And then we have a couple of our very elderly dogs, foster and a personal dog, with us in a hotel. So it was very traumatic for them, so we didn't get much sleep.
And so are you still in LaGrange right now, Debbie? Where are you guys?
Yes, ma'am. We're at the hotel in LaGrange, kind of in a holding pattern. We have a neighbor that I don't want to identify that did not evacuate, and we're aware that our power has just been turned on in the last hour and that our homes are still standing. So we're praying that we could return home before this cold snap hits us.
Oh, no, that is good news that your house is still standing. And so what is going on as far as you know? What else is going on? I know you told us a little bit. What else is happening around you?
You know, we're not getting a whole lot. I mean, we're having to rely on Facebook. I heard on the newscast this morning that apparently there were hotel vouchers offered to some people, yet none of us were aware of that. I had to rely on family to help us get the hotel room. So I'm just not sure why we're not getting this information. We're just kind of all wondering, and unfortunately it seems to be the case that they rely on social media, and then of course they're too busy to get a lot of info out, which I understand, but it's hard for all of us, you know, when we're all standing around, like you said, Terry's Corner, clueless to what's going on, you know.
So what is your message to city and county officials at this time?
My message is to do better. This is the fourth fire since we bought our home in 2014, and every time there's just no information. And I understand that they're busy, but my departments that I've worked with had public information officers assigned to them, and I think that Bastrop County should get a PIO in place for things like this, because that's their specific duty, is to continually update the public.
Debbie, tell us about when you got the notification to evacuate and how that process was.
Well, we really didn't know until I happened to log on to Facebook to check something, and a neighbor had posted a picture of the header, which is a large smoke column, and somebody commented they shut Highway 21 down, which runs outside of our home. So I immediately went to the Bastrop Emergency Services page and saw they'd shut the highway down. From there, I told my daughter to start harnessing the dogs, and I drove out to the highway, and what I saw as a retired firefighter told me we needed to get ready to evacuate, heavy smoke conditions, and a deputy at the corner who informed me to start telling neighbors to prepare for evacuation. So when we lost power, approximately 4 p.m., we left. And right after that, they issued the evacuation notice, and we stayed at Terry's Corner for probably 6 hours.
As you were leaving, Debbie, what did you see?
Well, down where we're at the bottom of the hill, we're on Pine Tree Loop, which is right adjacent to where the fire's running. It wasn't too smoky, but as I come up the hill out of there, it started getting more smoky, and we started seeing debris falling from the fire, which is concerning for spot fires. When I got to the stop sign at 21, the smoke was blinding. I couldn't see past my hood for about a quarter mile until heading towards Terry's Corner. I was having to crawl so I didn't accidentally hit something or somebody.
And as you were driving away from your home, how did that feel?
Well, at that point, I was kind of in what I call work mode. The whole process of gathering and implementing our fire escape plan that I had in place, I was just in work mode. But once I got to Terry's Corner, where my husband had left work and met me, I broke down because I really thought we were going to lose our house this time.
That must have been so frightening for you, Debbie.
Yes, we're our house, and I will add, my concern is that our house is one of the ones that remain from 2011 that did not burn. So we are on a heavily wooded acreage, lots of pine trees, yopon, cedar and oak, and of course, growth, that we try to maintain so we don't have such a danger. But if that all starts burning, there's just nothing you can do.
You have mentioned that this time around is so much worse. What do you mean by that?
It was close. It was so close. For example, the Smithville fire in 2015 was down the power line easement and a few miles away, although we had embers falling, and we did have a spot fire on the lot adjacent to us, which my husband and son successfully put out before the fire department got there. This time, it was coming right for us, and Power Line Road is just one over from us. Had they not contained it there, it would have ran through the Boy Scout camp and all the other heavily wooded areas. And because we had to leave, we weren't there to defend our space if there was a spot fire. And actually, when I pulled on 21, I saw them putting out spot fires. They were all over the highway.
Debbie, we're not sure what information you have, but do you realize that there was a prescribed burn that may have started all of this yesterday?
Oh yeah, a lot of us are, and we're not very pleased. We do have the post from A&M that was saying Tuesday would be a high fire danger day with low humidity and winds, and they were allotting resources to potential fire hazard areas. In my opinion, and I'm not them, but in my opinion, I don't think they should have proceeded with the burn because I know it was windy. And yes, they can say, okay, we burn in 6,000 acres all the time, but where they're burning, it's in range of a residential area. You have to take extra care. And if you're burning and doing a prescribed burn, you should have the resources and abilities to address a spot fire or anything that starts to get out of hand.
So what should happen after, of course, firefighters contain the wildfire? What should happen to those decision makers?
I don't know. That's not my call. And I really don't know. I'm just upset. I think at the very least, all of us residents who are suffering financial loss need to be reimbursed. We're going to lose over $1,000 in food because our power's been off since yesterday. My husband had to leave his job. He missed a shift today. My daughter missed her shift at the grocery store. We had to put, luckily we had some help getting a hotel, but I had to buy special dog food because now my senior dogs are sick from the stress. There's just a lot of costs involved with having to evacuate and have our power turned off. And I think they need to address that and not blow it off because that's stressful to us, especially after having just come out of the pandemic, furloughs, and everything else we dealt with.
And for everyone watching and listening, what is the message for them and for us?
For everybody, for the community, one thing that I'm always preaching is please let this be a lesson for those of you who insist on burning, especially in the forest. Those of you who insist on doing aerial fireworks in our trees, like they just did all around me on New Year's Eve, don't. Because next time, we could all lose our houses.
What a lesson. Debbie, please take care of yourself. I know you and I are on constant, we're always talking, so if you need anything, I think the message here also, if anyone has any sort of communication with city and county leaders about those hotel vouchers that Debbie was asking, please message us, KVUE or Debbie. She's on Facebook. Debbie Messer, take care, please. And yes. All right, Debbie Messer, thank you for talking with us.
Thank you, Jenny.
Please take care of your family.